ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोर्श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः। पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। श्रीकृष्णचैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृन्द। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, second Canto, 9th chapter, verse number 35. And this is the last verse of Chatusloki Bhagavatam, the four-versed Bhagavatam spoken by Lord Krishna to Brahma. And we have been reading the commentary by Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. The verse says that only that has to be known by an inquisitive person which is existing everywhere all the time by the process of positive statements and negative statement, anvaya vyatirekabhyam. And he gave meaning on this verse, saying that this verse is talking about the confidential knowledge which was promised by the Lord in the very beginning, that Brahma will get confidential knowledge. And he said that bhakti is the only thing which fits this definition, because bhakti is applicable to everybody all times and at all places. All other processes are not applicable everywhere and for all in all times. And then he further explained that the verse is also applicable to prema, which is the culmination of bhakti, sadhana bhakti, because prema is atmana anvaya vyatirekabhyam. He applied atmana here referring to prema by itself. It exists, it does not depend on anything else, and it is ever present because it is nitya siddha. And thus it is only prema which has to be achieved by the process of sadhana bhakti, and it is only prema which has to be inquired upon. So he says, Shuddha sadhan bhakti siddhya prem bhaktya eva yad rupa gunadi madhurya rasa anubhava. It is only when pure practice of devotion culminates in prema bhakti or love, then through that prema bhakti one experiences the form, qualities and sweetness of the Supreme Person. Because he had also asked about the form. So knowledge was given, but it is experienced by bhakti. Tasya prema bhakti anubhav rupatvat. Because this is the manifestation of prema bhakti. Krishna manifests himself through prema bhakti only. As he says, bhakti aham abhijanati yavanyascha tattvata. Bhakti aham ekya grahi. Vijnanam svata eva labdham. And therefore then one naturally has the vijnana or experience. Ato rahasya tad anga vijnanani shlokena aneneva uktani. So therefore both rahasya and which is prema, the confidential thing, and its limb or limbs in the form of various types of sadhana bhakti, they have been explained in one verse, this particular verse. Now he wants to give one more meaning, and that is the rasa. Because a sadhaka practices sadhana bhakti and becomes perfect and he attains prema bhakti. And then prema manifests into rasa. So that rasa must also be explained in this verse. So he says, Kincha raso vaisayati anantaram saesha anandasya mimansa bhavati iti shrute. In the Upanishad it is mentioned that Lord is rasa himself. As Bhagavatam says in the very beginning that one should drink Pibata Bhagavatam rasamale muraho rasika bhuvi bhavata. So the Bhagavat rasa is related or manifestation of prema bhakti towards Krishna. And when one attains that, then saesa anandasya mimansa bhavati. That is the ultimate in ananda or bliss. So rasa is when one's bhav, which is permanent mood of devotion, it manifests along with vibhav and anubhav. Sanchari bhav, all these together give rise to rasa. Sarva shreyo avdhi rupo rasa eva murta eva. So this is the ultimate of all auspiciousness, this rasa. And Krishna is the personification of that rasa, as it was described in this verse, which depicts Krishna's appearance in the arena of Kamsa in Mathura, when Akrura has brought Krishna and Balaram to Mathura, and they both went to see the city, and they entered and they killed the elephant on the gate, Kualaya Pida. And then Krishna entered along with his brother Balaram. So the description which is given there is that he is the manifestation of all the rasas, because the different types of people present in that assembly saw Krishna differently according to their temperament. So he says, Mallanam asni nirnam narvara strinam smaro murtiman gopinam svajano astam chitivajam shasta swapitroho shashuvu mrityur bhojapate virada vidusham tattvam param yoginam Vishninam paradevte vidito rangam gata sagrajaha. So Krishna entered with his elder brother, where the wrestlers, they saw him as very strong, as his body was hard like stone. Mallanam asni nirnam narvara strinam. And people, they saw him the best of human beings, and the ladies, they saw him Cupid personified, and the Gopas, they saw him as their own person, one of the cowherd people. And Asato Kshiti Vujham Shasta, he appeared as the controller of impolite kings. And Swaputro Shashu, his parents were also there. They saw him like a small baby. Kamsa saw him as death personified, and those who were not very learned, for them he appeared as universal form, and the yogis saw him absolute reality as Brahman, and Vishninam Pardeviteti, the Vishnus, they saw him as their Pardevata, or worshipable. So this is how Krishna was seen by different people. So there are 12 types of rasas, 5 primary and 7 secondary. And Krishna is the embodiment of all those rasas as described in this verse. Ityadi akara, therefore the Shruti is saying raso vai sa, that he himself is rasa. And sa is masculine word, he, which refers to Krishna. And this is the limit of rasa. Therefore Krishna is also called Rasraj, the master of the rasas. इत्यादि आकारेव दर्शितस्तस्य च विज्ञानम अत्रैव श्लोके तंत्रेण उक्तम. So he says that in this sloka, even this rasa is also described, and now he will show it. यथा जिज्ञासेषु मध्ये एतावद् एव जिज्ञास्यम् अनुभूषणीयम्. Says among the various topics which are to be known or inquired about, only this has to be known, only this has to be asked or studied. Kim tat, what is that? Anvaya vyatireka yoga ayogabhyam sanyoga vipralambhabhyam yat syat. So what is that? That which manifests in 2 ways, by union and separation. So sometimes there is a union between Lord and his devotees, and there is a manifestation of rasa, that is sanyog. And sometimes there is separation, so that is vipralambha. So he is translating these 2 words, anvaya and vyatirek, now as union and separation, because vyatirek actually signifies separation, negative not being there, and anvaya is union. Sarvatra sarva brahmanda vartini Sri Vrindavana. So Sarvatra means in Vrindavan, or the abode of the Lord, because they are present everywhere. Sarvatra means in all places, and because abode of the Lord is all pervading, so therefore this rasa is manifest, and Krishna is in his own abode, and he never leaves, so he is everywhere. Dasa sakhi gurur presishu sarvada nityameva, and sarvada in all beings or all times refers that he has his devotees who have this loving relationship towards him as servant, friend, parents, or the beloveds. Mahapralaya samayapiti iti dasya sakhya vatsalya sringar rasanam aswadanam dhanita. And even when this material world is destroyed, still the manifestation of Lord's abode is there, and Lord's abode signifies his devotees, which are in these 5 relations, and he is specifically referring to the 4 type of rasas, Dasa, Sakhya, Vatsalya and Sringar. Evam ati rahasya prem bhakti ras vyanjakaha slokoya. So in this way he says that this sloka is not only rahasya or confidential, but the most confidential thing, because it is explaining about rasa. Jnana rupa arthantarena bhagavata eva achaditas chintamanireva kanaka samputene bahiranga jana ashakyodghatanena. So he said, just like one keeps one's gem, if somebody has a very precious gem, then one will keep it in a nice box hidden so that other people they are unable to see it or open it. Bahiranga jan asakya udghatane, they will be unable to open this. You have to put it in a safe with a very strong lock. So in the same way this verse, although it looks very simple, but it is talking about the highest manifestation of prema as rasa, and then there is password to it. Cannot open the file without the password. So he says Jnana Rupa Arthantarena, that Lord has hidden this rasa himself, making it appear as if it is talking about Jnana. Arthantarena means another meaning, because this verse also appears as if he is talking about Jnana or knowledge, that one should try to acquire only this knowledge. But the real meaning is something beyond. So like if you want to see the gem, then you have to open the safe and then see it inside. So similarly, if one wants to see the real meaning of the verse, then one has to open it and not get stuck just with the covering. So covering is the Gyan, and inside the hidden material is the rasa. Tathacha Shruti, and therefore there is a statement from Kathopanishad, Nayam Atma Pravachanena Labhyo na Medhaya na Bahudha Shrutena Yameva Isha Vrinute Tena Labhya Tasyesha Atma Vivrinute Tanuswam. Says that this Atma, which refers to the Supreme Person, cannot be attained simply by lecturing, pravachan, or by one's own intelligence, na medhaya, wisdom, na bahudha shrutena, or by hearing or studying various scriptures. So then how he can be attained? Says yameva esha vrinute tena lam. Only a person who is chosen by him, one who is blessed by the Lord, then such a person can achieve him. Tasya esha atma vivrunute tanumsyam. To such a person, Lord reveals himself openly. Otherwise he remains covered like the gem in the safe or locker. So in the same way, the meaning is hidden inside this verse. So many times people are studying, but they don't get the real meaning of the book, especially Bhagavatam. Because Bhagavatam looks like it's a book of stories, one after another, so many stories are there. But it is talking about the ultimate object to be achieved, and that is rasa. And so in the beginning it says Pibata Bhagavata Rasamalayam. So how to get that rasa, that has to be opened, and that is by the blessings of the Lord. Tacha Jnana Rupam Arthantaram Yatha Atmanas Tattva Jigyasuna Etavadeva Jigyasam Kim Tat Yad Anvya Vitirekabhyam Sarvatra Sarvada Syat Tadeva Atma. So now he gives the meaning which is covering the verse. He also shows that what is the meaning which covers the real meaning. Because there are actually three internal meanings of Bhakti, Prema and Rasa, and the fourth one is the external meaning which is covering them. So that meaning also he gives, because it's all coming from the same words. So he says, Atmanas tattva jigyasuna, that a tattva jigyasu, one who is inquisitive about the Absolute, he should inquire only this much, etavadeva jigyasam. What is that? Yad anvaya vyatirekabhyam sarvada sarvatra sarvada sat. That object which exists everywhere at all times. Tadeva Atma. And that very object is called Atma. So this statement from Kathopanishad was also using the word Atma. Nayama Atma pravachnena labhyana me dhyana bahuda shrutena. And this verse is also using the word Atma. So Atma, or the Supreme Absolute Truth, is everywhere. And there is nothing exists without it. So it can also apply to Brahman or to Super Soul. तथा ही आत्मनः कारणत्वेन जगति अन्वयः. So because of Atma, there is existence in the world. Because the material world exists because of him. And he is inside the world. Jagdastu Atmani Vyatireka. But the world is not in the Lord. So that is the Anvaya and Vyatireka. That he is in the universe, but universe is not in him. तथा च जाग्रदादि अवस्थासु तत्साक्षितया आत्मनो अन्वय आत्मनि तु जाग्रदादि अवस्था व्यतिरेक. And he gives one more meaning, that if you want to take Atma as your own Atma, then when somebody is awake or dreaming or sleeping, then Atma is always present. So that is the Anvaya. Always. In every, whether it is dreaming state, then Atma is there. Deep sleep, Atma is there. Wakeful state, Atma is there. But in Atma, there is no dream. There is no wakeful state. There is no deep sleep state in Atma. Atma is the Turiya. Atma is the fourth. Uplabdhi Matra. So beyond these three states exist Atma, and inside Atma there is no other state. So that is Vyatirek. So by Anvaya and Vyatirek you can understand Atma. So this he says is the external meaning. So this is how he has explained this verse, which is very interesting. So these were the 4 slokas, and now Lord is concluding. Says etan matam samatishta paramene samadhina bhavan kalpa vikalpeshu navmayati karhichit. Says that you remain situated in this philosophy with supreme concentration of your mind and remain fixed in it, don't deviate from this, then you will never be bewildered by my Maya in the act of creation or primary creation, secondary creation, bhavan kalpa vikalpesu navyanayati. Because he had prayed this to the Lord. Nehamane praja sarge baddhya yadanugrahat. That I may not be bewildered by your Maya. So now Lord is blessing him that my Maya will not bewilder me anymore. You just remain fixed in this. Nanu ati gambhirartham चतुः श्लोकी भागवतम इदम कथम मया अवगंतुम शक्य विवदमाना नाम मत वैविध्यात. So Brahma raises a doubt. He says that this Chatusloki Bhagavatam which we have spoken is very deep. It has got so many meanings in it. So how can I understand it and keep it in me? Because there are various people who have interpreted in different ways. Vivadmanana. So many people have commented on this. So we have heard Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur's commentary. But then there are many other commentators who have also commented in these verses, and they give different meanings. So how I can be fixed? So it says that you have to fix your mind. Etan matam samyag anutishta samadhina chitta ekagrena vimarsha. That you concentrate your mind, do not deviate, and deliberate on this. Then you will know everything. And kalpa vikalpesu mahakalpa anukalpesu madiyam iti chatusloki bhagavad vivrati sati. So he says that in the mahakalpas means the lifespan of Brahma, and anukalpa his days, and then the different divisions of kalpa, in that he will not be bewildered at all. So he said this way, my explanation of Chatusloki is over, and then he closes it with one sloka. Yam visvajaneenati rasya sarartha darshani bhakti shastram madhiyanair janair drishyana chaparaihi. He says that this sarartha darshani explanation, that is the name of his commentary, which shows the essential meaning of Bhagavatam. It is very sweet, very delicious for all times, and it should be studied only those people who are devotees, Bhakti Shastra Madhyana, who have studied Bhakti Shastra. They should study this and not others. So many times we see that people, they forbid certain class of students from studying their work. So Rupa Ji Goswami also writes sometimes in his books that I am putting this limit, that it should be studied only by the devotees and not for others. Annebhyo shapto arpita, actually saying that I am giving a shapat, like making them forbid that this will not touch my book. And the reason is that this type of explanation is relished only by devotees. The non-devotees, they will not like this explanation, because they want to see something impersonal, Brahman or Gyan or Karma. So then it is useless that they have to study this and then find fault and be offensive towards Bhagavatam. So Bhagavatam, Bhaktya Bhagavatam yati na medhyani tikaya. Just as this verse of Kathopanishad was saying that Lord cannot be known by one's own intelligence or by studying too many literatures. In the same way, Bhagavatam can also not be understood by one's intelligence or simply studying the commentaries, but one understands it through devotion, because it is non-different from Krishna, and as Krishna is understood only by bhakti, bhaktya mama hijanati. So Bhagavatam also has the same quality. The non-devotees, they cannot understand Bhagavatam. It's beyond them, because it is a book talking about rasa. So after saying this much, then Lord, he stopped. And then Sukadeva Goswami speaks. Sri Shuka Uvacha Sampravishya Vamajano Jananam Parameshtinam Pashyatastasya Tadrupam Atmano Nirunadharihi. So instructing Brahma, who is the presiding person of all beings who will be born, the Lord who is unborn, then he unmanifested his form while Brahma was looking. Pashyatas tadsya tadrupam. So while Brahma was looking at him, and then suddenly the screen went blank. The plug was pulled off. And then Brahma was again sitting in the darkness. And it was described that he saw darkness all around. Then he tried to figure out from where he came, and he heard this sound. Because in darkness also you can hear. So hearing is very important. You may not see, but you can hear. So he heard these words, tapa, tapa. And he sat in meditation, and then suddenly there was light. He saw the Lord's abode, then he saw the devotees, then he saw Lakshmi Devi, finally he saw the Lord, and then Lord came and shook hand with him, and they had a dialogue. Now Lord unmanifested his form, and when he unmanifested his form, it also means he unmanifested everything else, his devotees, Vaikuntha planet, because everything is part of his form. So therefore he says, Pashyatas tasya tadrupam atmano nirunadhari. And while he was seeing, then Lord just unmanifested. Antar hitendriya arthaya hariye vihitanjalihi sarvabhutamayo vishvam sasarjaidam sapuruvat. So when the very supreme object of the senses, the Lord, he became unmanifest, then Brahma with folded hands paid obeisances to the Lord, Vihitanjali. And after that, he created this universe containing various types of living beings like before. So the creation is as it happened previously. It just repeats in the same manner. Sri Vishnu Chakravarti says, Parmeshtinam srashtaram atmano rupam iti vaikuntadikam api tasyaiva rupam iti gyapati. So after giving instruction to the creator, Parmeshti Brahma, then he disclosed his form, and which means also Vaikuntha, because everything is part of his form. Nyarunat antardhapyamasa. Nyarunat means he disclosed. Antarhita indriyanam svabhakta chakshuradinam artha param purushat. So he is considered as the supreme object for the senses of his devotees, because devotees they see his form and smell his fragrance. Sva Saundarya Swaswarya Saurabhyadiko Yena Tasman. So now the beautiful form which was manifest, and he was hearing the deep voice of the Lord and also getting the smell, fragrance from Lord's body. So suddenly it all disappeared. So after that he engaged in the act of creation. Only thing is that Brahma did not become morose. Like we hear about Narada Muni, he was also seeing the Lord, and then suddenly Lord disappeared, and then he was very disturbed. He wanted to see that form again. But Brahma got knowledge and he was instructed, so he performed his service. Purvat Purvasmin Vyatite Kalpe. So Purvat means as before, which means as in the previous kalpas or creations. So now we hear one story about Brahma, which will come in Bhagavatam, that Brahma once was attracted to his daughter Saraswati and he ran after her. So that was bewildering by the Maya of the Lord. And here Lord has blessed him that Bhavan kalpa vikalpesu na vimuhyati karachit, that you will never be bewildered by my Maya. So how to understand? Because later on in the third canto we will read that he was actually bewildered, became attracted to his own daughter, and Lord is blessing. And also Brahma was bewildered in Brahma Mohan Lila when he came to test Krishna and stole his calf and cow. That time also he was bewildered. So what happens to the Lord's boon? That he will not be bewildered. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes a line about it. Tena brahmana svakanyabhigam rupa moha purva kalpe tatraiva bhut natu chatuh shloki bhagavatopdeshanantaram api bhavan kalpa vikalpeshu na vimuhyati iti bhagavadukte. So he says that this bewildering of Brahma when he was attracted to his own daughter, this happened in another kalpa, but not after he has heard Chatusloki Bhagavatam. So after hearing Bhagavatam, then there was no bewilderment for him, because Lord has said it so. And the other incident, Yattu Krishna avatare Brahma Mohanam Tattu Bhagavad Kripa Vilasitam. He says that bewilderment of Brahma, that is part of Lord's grace, that was Yogamaya, and he was not bewildered in the sense that he was under the influence of Maya. So that was Lord's blessings on him, because he came to know some pastimes of the Lord, and for that reason he was put in such a situation. So if we have this understanding, then there is no contradiction in the boon given by the Lord and this two pastimes, or two incidents in Brahma's life. Then he says, Prajapatir Dharmapatir Ekda Niyaman Yaman Bhadram Prajanam Anvichan Natishtata Swarthakamya Tam Narada Priyatamo Rikta Dana Manubrataha Sushrushamana Srilena Prashrayena Damena Cha. Says that once Brahma, who is known as Prajapati or the progenitor, and Dharampati, the master of the Dharma, to create beautiful progeny, he followed certain rules and regulations. He practiced some spiritual sadhana so that he gets power to create proper people with this intention. And when he was doing this, then Narada, who is most dear to Brahma, the most dear son of Brahma is Narada. He served him, Anuvrata, and with a very humble mood, prashrayana, and control of mind, he rendered service to Brahma. So this is showing how a student or son is subservient to the teacher or father, guru, and performs service, and then only becomes qualified to get the knowledge. because Narada is the one who got bhakti. Others, somebody got karma, jnana and so on. तदनन्तरं च पूर्वोक्त ब्रह्म नारद संवादः प्रवृत्तः इत्यः पंचम. So basically he wants to inform that after this happened, then there was a dialogue between Brahma and Narada. And in 5 verses he is going to speak about that after this incident. प्रजानां भद्रम अन्विच्छन् यम नियमान आतिष्ठत् स्वाचरेण शिक्षेन मत प्रजा यम नियमानाम आतिष्ठन्तु इत्येवं स्वार्थकाम्यम्. So for the auspiciousness of people, Brahma himself followed rules and regulations, and this was not to create but actually to teach them by his own behavior that my progeny, they must also follow the rules and regulations. So this was his desire, and therefore he followed some principles. So as Krishna says, yadi yad acharti shrestha tattade vitarajana sayat pramanam kurute lokastadanu vartate. That whatever an established or famous person does, then common people will follow that person. So Brahma also taught not simply that he gave lectures, but he also practiced himself. So this is very effective. If one is only lecturing, then it also has influence, but not as influential as one also practices and believes in what one is teaching. Then it becomes very, very powerful. So this example is given that simply preaching without following is like shooting with a toy gun. It makes a lot of noise but doesn't kill. And preaching while practicing, that is like shooting with the real gun. Not only it makes noise but also does the job. So Brahma is the first example of that. It's not that he was realized and then he didn't have to practice. He is a Nirgrantha, he is beyond rules and regulations. Yet he says, Prajanam Bhadram Anvicham, that desiring good of his children. That if I do it, then children will also follow. So this is also one of the problems these days in society, that the parents, they tell their children, they don't tell lies. But then the children, they see the father telling lies all the time. His mobile rings or something and then he tells the wife, tell I'm not here. So the wife is saying that he's gone out or he's in the bathroom or whatever. So the children, they see it and they observe and then they think that there's nothing wrong with it. So then they also pick up this habit. So that's why achar is important, and therefore teacher is called acharya, because he is not only that he knows the shastra, achinoti sarv shastra, that he takes the essence of the scriptures and teaches, but acharti swam, so he also follows himself. So that is very powerful, that has a great impact on the student. So this is a very nice verse to portray or depict that. And then naturally Narada is doing service because he sees that how committed his father is to this philosophy of devotion. Riktam dhanam patrikam daya praptatvena adadate iti riktadam. So rikta is the ancestral property, and that comes to the children. Therefore, children are called Riktada, those who receive the property of the father. So, Riktadanam Priyatam, the most dear among them, Putra, Tesam Madhya Priyatamam, is Narada. So, Brahma had various children. Some are the followers of Karma Marg, some are followers of Bhakti Marg, Yoga Marg, Jnana Marg. But among all of them, it says Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Nam Patrik Dhananam Madhya. This is the wealth of Brahma. He knows all the processes and he gives that knowledge to his children. Dakshadaya Karma Yogam Prapu. So Daksha is expert in Karma Yoga. Before he was producing, he is also Prajapati. And Sankadayo Jnanam. Sankadi, the four Kumaras, they are expert on the path of Jnana. They are the Jnanis. Narado Bhaktim Prapa. But Narada is the one who got Bhakti. Iti Naradasya Utkarshat. So therefore Narada is the best among all the sons of Brahma. Anuvrataha Pitri Bhakta. Anuvrata means that he was very much devoted to his father. Mayam Bahiranga Shaktim Kripam Va Tasya Vachitrim Jatum Icchaniti. So, where is my... Somehow I think the next line is also taken in this. Mayam Vividashan Vishnur Maye Sasya Mahamuni Mahabhagavato Rajan Pitram Pariyatoshet. So he says that Maya here means Bahiranga Shakti, or it means Kripa, mercy. So to know its varieties, he performed service to his father. And Lord Vishnu is called Mayesha, the Lord of Maya. Mayesasya Maya Bhartu Maya Kripya Ishte Tasya Itina. So Mayesha is the master of Maya, and by his grace he pleased him, and because of that Brahma blessed him. So I think I'll stop here. If there is any question on this.
So the commentary on Brahma's following his daughter, being bewildered by his daughter, will be explained later, or that was the only commentary?
No, he is saying that this incident did not happen after he heard Chatusloki Bhagavatam, but that incident will come later on.
Oh, it will come later.
He is only referring to the point that Lord blessed him that you will not be influenced by my Maya. Bhavan kalpavita kasu navimuhyati karhichit. So somebody may raise a question knowing the story which comes later, that Brahma was bewildered, so how does it fit with his bone?
So that will be explained later.
Isn't it in the Madhva Sampradaya that they deny these pastimes altogether as interpolation?
I don't know about this one, but there are some which they deny in 10th Canto. I know that they deny this killing of Putana and then attaining Mukti. Killing of Putana is okay, but that's he attained Dhatri Gati Avapa. That's he attained the place of nurse of Krishna, that they don't accept. They say that she went to hell.
Because Brahma is the head of the Sampradaya, so they find it hard to
Yeah. So they,
swallow this one.
they probably have not seen this particular part, but there are many places they accept, or they accept that this is interpolation.
I was going to say that the verse is saying, the last verse of the Chatushloki, that one should inquire up to this point specifically. But it seems that most transcendentalists have stopped short of the point that is being indicated here. That they stop short the inquiry at Brahman or Nirvana, and it's there's this whole mystery actually about bhakti and rasa and prem, and you've heard of this term from Ken Wilber's books, the pre-trans fallacy. Pre-trans. I don't know if you've heard this before, but like in psychology, for example, they have now there's transpersonal psychology, so they even are acknowledging development into the transpersonal realm. But say going back some time, they would have because you have the pre-egoic and egoic and then transegoic. So the pre-egoic and the transegoic share something in common because they're both outside of the realm of ego. So they could look at the realm of mystical experience, and for them it's outside of the realm of ego, and but we don't acknowledge anything that is trans, so it can only be pre. So they take mystical experience and transcendental experience and interpret it as being pre-egoic, because it's in any case outside of the realm of ego. So it seems like the jnanis and those that are aspiring for Brahman realization are guilty of a similar kind of pre-trans fallacy. That beyond Brahman is the realm of prem and rasa and personality. But because they've already, looked at anything that has form, anything that has name, anything that has diversity, has already been relegated, to the realm of convention.
Yeah, as mithya.
It's like an automatic response. As soon as you mention bhakti, as soon as you mention worship, as soon as you mention form,
they take it that it is.
They relegate it to a conventional application of these things.
This is a good observation. It's a fact, and that's why they cannot go beyond the covering. And he's saying that this is covered. So they got stuck with the covering and they don't know that there is also something beyond it. And even if they come to know about it, they think that this is outside the covering, this is below it.
And that's why it's so hard to even, explain these concepts, because there's an automatic.
Because they're stuck in their mind, they cannot get over it. For us, it looks very easy. They cannot. So that's why he said that these people should not read my commentary and waste their time.
So what benefit do they get out of being stuck? I mean, if they're aware of the fact that they're like in a place.
Benefit? They start smelling anything which gets stuck, it smells.